goes a little something like.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 24 of the Ballrooms and Bachelors Podcast, where we talk about our own experiences as ballroom dancing students, dancing with the stars, and all things Bachelor. I'm Matthew.
And I'm Camille.
So on the show this week, we have quite a few things to talk about. We're going to be talking about dance this week. We've had a few things going on. Again, it's been a little quiet going into the new year just because like this stuff is starting up again. But then I assume it's probably going to get a little bit more busy just because we have our competition coming up and a lot of other things. But we're going to specifically talk about the slumber birthday party that we had 2 nights ago. Just based on when we're recording this, but that we had that and it was really fun. And then we talked about some of our new group classes for this month, and we'll just share so many of the details that are important or anything that maybe special happened during the group classes this month so far. And like we talked about, then I just mentioned that we have our March AODC competition coming up, and Camille and I are both participating, and some of our friends are participating. So we're going to kind of give some background on that. And then we're really excited that this has been a long time coming, that we're going to the Dancing with the Stars tour tomorrow night. And we're going to get to meet Gabby and all the Dancing with the Stars pros that are going to be participating. And that's, I think, going to be so much fun. We've been really looking forward to that. So that's all like the dance side for this week. And then moving on to The Bachelor, which is premiering next Monday. And we're going to give and I'm pretty excited about it. I think that'll be really fun. Especially since we've had like a little bit of a break between Bachelor. I know we have Paradise in the middle, but Paradise, again, it's completely separate to me, and it was crazy and a mess this season, so I don't even really count it, but at least for this season. But it's been a while since we actually had like the main Bachelor franchise show with the Bachelorette in July, so it will be good to get back into like a main franchise show, like a full season of that. So I'm really excited about it. So with the Bachelor side, we're going to recap Zach's journey with Rachel on The Bachelorette and just The Bachelorette kind of season overall last season. And then we looked through the cast list. They did some like live stream. I know we've talked about this. And just like they did last year, announcing the women, but I didn't get a chance to watch it. I don't think we both either had a chance to watch it, but
I think they had technical glitches, so I don't even know if it happened really.
I know.
But yeah,
I think maybe I heard that they had the technical glitch, but then maybe they got it to work, but I still think it was kind of confusing. So we looked up the cast list on the website and kind of went through the bios and the list of women, and so we kind of did what we did last year with The Bachelor or The Bachelorette and with the guys. So with the women this season, we picked out kind of like few that we thought would make it far, and maybe some women of interest who might think we might have like interesting seasons this season. And then just some overall thoughts and hopes of the season. So that's basically what we're going to be talking about today. But do you want to start talking about what we want to, or about dance this week?
Yes. So Tuesday night we had our first party of the new year. And it was a slumber birthday party theme, and coincidentally one of the newer students, it was actually his birthday that night. So we had, everybody wore pajamas. I wore robe and slippers on top of it. I literally thought I was going to wipe out while we were dancing because the slippers are so slippery on that floor. Because most of my house is carpeted, so like I don't experience this at home. And we had birthday hats, and it was crazy. And I think everybody got really tired because we're like, what is this? Because we put pajamas on, we're all tired. So
like, go to sleep.
So we had fun. It was fun. I only went that night just for the party, so I was like, I was just like, I need to plan my schedule, so I'm putting on my pajamas so that way I don't have to come home and like change into my pajamas again. So I was like, okay, I'm ready to go. Like, dressed down to go out.
I thought it was a very specific theme, like so I thought that made it more fun, I guess you could say, because it was not like, oh, it's just like this like really really popular, or I guess well-known theme, because like we've done like the Christmas party and Thanksgiving party and stuff like that, which is like we usually do those things, but this was a very like specific theme like to this like theme. So I think it was cool that they like blended the two together with the slumber/birthday party. I thought that was kind of cool. And it probably helped, like you said, that one of the students had the birthday. I think that's actually maybe they decided to do the birthday party too. So I think that was pretty cool. So I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yes. And then the group classes, we've been doing the group classes. I so like I've been, and I forgot how much I got into this in the last episode. I really have committed to being like, I'm going to do the dance fitness class every week, except for this week, which I'm going to explain in a minute. And I've been going to the bachata and the Argentine tango classes, but as long as like my schedule allows for that particular week, just because that is most aligned, I think, right now with what I'm working on. So I was going to stay for the dance fitness class this past Monday, but I was able to get last minute tickets to go see Phantom of the Opera. And I was like, this is kind of a once in a lifetime thing. I mean, I've gone to see Phantom before. It is closing on Broadway. My neighbor works backstage. Their families work backstage for 3 generations now, in some capacity. So I went to go see it with my neighbor and their family. So it was a nice, it was a nice experience. So I was like, I told Elena, I was like, this is the only reason I'm skipping the dance fitness class. But it has been good. All of the ones I've done, I know you've been there, and yeah, it's like I'm sore for like 3-4 days after. It was hurting to laugh last week because of my abs. So I don't know, how was this week?
It was really good. It was funny. I told Elena, because my private lesson is like after the next class, and so it's like an hour and a half ish later after the fitness class. And it's crazy how like that ends up happening, and it's funny because I've noticed, I think especially in the first 2, I think I was a little bit like less tired, I guess, this week, but I noticed that like the first 2 salsa classes after the fitness class, I was just like going through the motions, like, okay, like I was so tired, but I was like, I'm gonna get through this, and just dance the salsa. But I remember telling Elena, like during the group classes or during my private lesson, I the first week, and I've told her this like subsequently the last 3 weeks or the first 3 weeks of the class, I was like, I really forgot how hard you could go on us with the class. And it was like, in hindsight, it's actually really good, because I think her pushing that lets us like better equipped to what we're going to be doing, and obviously that fitness stuff is very important. But I was like, man, she's like really a motivator in the class. She's like, come on, you can do it, you're gonna go and do everything. It's just like so funny. She's getting in people's faces and like encouraging them, pumping them up. So it's like she always has done that, but it's especially like on display in the fitness class. I told her that. I always just found that kind of funny. But it was really fun this week. We did kind of same old stuff that we've been doing specifically the last few weeks. I don't remember specifically what we did, like in the order we did them, but I remember we did kind of, again, just like cardio stuff. This was the first time we did what we did, I think. She made us like I remember this last year specifically, because I remember she was like playing the music, and she had us like run like a circle, like in a circle, like in a lap.
Yeah.
And I remember we did that last year, and we did that this week, and so that was really fun. And again, just a lot of like the stretching and the lunges, and then kind of like getting on the floor to do things. And then obviously, I don't know if it's specifically called dance fitness. I know it was last year. I know she said that she likes to incorporate like some choreo, I guess you could say, in the class, like, because she'll do something where she like does some kind of like step across the room and we have to follow her. So it's not really like, I guess, a workout step or move, you could say, but like it's obviously like it's fitness inducing, or it's physical activity. So obviously we get a lot out of it, but it's like dance incorporated with the fitness. So
she tries to time the movements with the music. Like, oh, the chorus, you're going to do this, and then on this verse, you're going to do this. But
which I find it like I really like that, just because like it's very the music she plays obviously is like gym music, so it's like very like blood pumping music. So when we do that, it makes it a lot of fun. She actually ended the class with "Sexy and I Know It," so that like she was like, okay, we're ending with this song, and then everybody got crazy to that, so that was fun. But yeah, overall, I'm glad they brought back that class. It was really fun. A lot of the students were like, and I not that I don't love the fitness class, because I just said I did, and I obviously do. But like a few of the students I agree with this, and they're saying hopefully this is like a 1 to 2 month class, just because like after a while it gets kind of tiring.
We just need to get ourselves like motivated for the beginning of the year,
exactly,
and then it will taper off, and then we do.
It will taper off, and so I overall really, really enjoyed that class, and I'm glad they brought it back. And it was kind of like I mentioned when we were talking about the new classes they were bringing back, that it's almost like a year to the day like that she brought back the class, because we did it like January
Oh
through
yeah.
January, February last year.
Yeah.
So I thought it was kind of cool that like full circle
Mhm.
we did it again a year later. So I
Yeah.
really thought it was a lot of fun.
Yes. And then you've been doing the country line dance class
Yes.
too. Has
Yeah.
that been, if anything you want to talk about with that, and then
Yeah, it's been really
as I keep
fun.
moving on.
It's definitely like I was talking about before. It's definitely been interesting, especially like I remember we've talked about this. I remember I've mentioned that like it's very similar, not in terms of the dances or the choreo, but in terms of the
Mhm.
feeling of or just newness of West Coast swing. Because obviously I talked about how the West Coast swing class, I don't really do West Coast swing
Mhm.
like in my private lessons, obviously, and even at like social parties, because that's really not a dance that we do. But I thought it was funny that but with that class, I noticed that it took me a few weeks to kind of get used to it. And that's the
Mhm.
same with the country two-step or the line dancing class. And that's why, because obviously, like I said, along with the West Coast swing, the country line dance last two-step, I haven't really done that kind of dance in my private
Mhm.
lesson, just out like privately, just if I'm just like dancing socially or anything like that.
Mhm.
So it's taken a little, and I think it's taken us a little while, the whole class, to kind of get used to it, but we're all having a lot of fun. David we've been doing the same like routines every week. I don't know if we're gonna like change them up, but we've like there's like this country song, I think it's called the Watermelon Crawl or something like that. I've never heard of it. I hadn't heard of it, like I've heard of the name, but I hadn't heard of the song until David like played it for us. And we've been doing that dance, but we've been starting and ending the class with the Footloose choreography, which is like, obviously, as anybody knows, that song is very fast, and there's a
Yeah.
lot of steps in it, and it's obviously like one of those things, like it's almost like when you're doing the like cha-cha slide or something like that, where you're like rotating around the room
Mhm.
every time the
Yeah.
beat repeats. And so repeating that dance is really hard because of like how fast it is. But it's nice because then that country dance that we do, like
Mhm.
I just mentioned, it's a little slower, or it's way slower. So it's nice to do like Footloose, the country song, it's like a little bit
Yeah.
less like fast, and then go into the Footloose again. So that's been fun. I think he said he might want to get into like do like a new song or a new routine in the next few weeks. So that will be fun. But
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
overall that class has been really fun. I think a lot of people have
Mhm.
been getting just a lot out of it, and they've been really liking
Mhm.
it. And I remember we've talked about this, or we haven't talked about this, but and it's interesting because we've talked about how quiet the group classes were at the end of last year, from like the end of the summer until just like the holidays. Like, it was like
Yeah.
the
Now.
group classes were like that's what I'm saying, is that now, like back then, the maximum like we would get would be 5 people like in a class, that would
Mhm.
like fall into the holidays, and that was like a rarity. Sometimes it'd be like 3 people, and that was like normal. But now,
Mhm.
like, it's the last few classes, especially the workout class and the country two-step class, and bachata, but I would say mostly salsa and
Yeah.
in the country line dance class, is that those classes are getting like an average 15 to 20 people now, these first 2 3 weeks of the classes.
Mhm.
And so I think it's been really fun to like have those like big classes again. Obviously, it's nice to have the smaller classes, because then the instructors can actually give you like the personalized attention and can help
Yeah.
you on stuff. But I think the instructors really enjoy having a lot of people in the classes, because I don't think I've seen this big of a class since like spring of last year. It's been almost a
Yeah.
year. So
Yeah.
I think it's been nice to have that a lot of people
Yeah.
coming to the classes again. But yeah, the country two-step line
Mhm.
dance, again, I don't know what to call it, because they called it both things on the sheet or on the
Oh
paper
yeah.
on. But overall, I really really like that class a lot. It's really fun.
Yeah. Good. Good. Yeah, I know. I was originally going to see if I could go to join the class before the party, but I was just like, my schedule is so hectic. So it's fine. But
Yeah,
hopefully you guys will do it like at a party or something.
yeah, I
Um,
think we want to. Yes, that'd be cool.
did you have anything else on the group classes, or we could start talking about the competition in March?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything else, again, because bachata's been pretty self-explanatory, and then I'm glad, like I said, they kept it's not really called fancy footwork anymore, but
Yeah.
it's still kind of fancy footwork, but just it's
Hmm.
called Latin footwork. And that class has been very fun. We've been doing, it's actually been funny, and obviously with Yuri teaching it, we obviously know that's going to be really fun and like just a lot of funny moments happening in it because Yuri will just go all out and just try to make everybody laugh.
Yeah.
That always makes it fun and entertaining. But we've done we did samba and we did rumba these first 2 weeks of like the Latin footwork class, and that's been fun. I'm glad again that class, but everything else besides that has been pretty self-explanatory. But I really have enjoyed the group classes so far.
Awesome. Yeah, and I don't know, we can get into next time about if they start telling us what the February classes are going to be.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, so I think in the past episodes, and I forgot how much we explained, but we have a little more. I think the last time I was mentioning about how Eugene was going to come to the studio. So that was a few weeks ago. So I met with Eugene. We all met with Eugene just to get a gist of like what the competition schedule, event schedule is going to look like for this coming year. I know in the past they've done that, they've kind of like mapped out the whole year and given us dates, times, whatever. There's a lot of changes going on using different venues and all that. And that's just details that they're working out on their end. But the one that we have locked down is the beginning of March, the first weekend in March. We're doing our AODC competition. And there is like some of the other studios, they're doing like a mini match and a showcase the weekend of February 10th, 11th, 12th. But our studio, like the Glen Rock Fort Lee, they just, we didn't have enough people that were planning to do it at that point in time. So with that being said, I think everybody kind of in Glen Rock got like all hyped of like, I want to do a showcase now. So I think everybody's kind of like, well, I'm going to do it in March instead. So I know I'm doing that. I know you're doing that. I know a handful of other folks are doing that. We have a few other people that are competing that are not doing showcase. But for me, when there was the one showcase that I've been wanting to do for a while, and in February, I think it might have been a little too rushed to do it for then, for me personally, but I think March is a good time. So this past week, Monday I was off from work, and I like earlier in the day I was at dance. I just didn't stay for the dance fitness class, but Elena was starting to choreograph a contemporary performance that I'm going to do with Yuri to an Ed Sheeran song. And it was the first time that I've really done that much contemporary. And we got through about the choreography for about half of the routine. And the next day I woke up and I have bruises all over my knee. And I was like, is this normal? Because I guess, there's like this one part where I'm like really up and down on my knees a lot. And I'm like going and all of that. And I think it's just because we repeated it so many times. So I would learn the step. So I'm glad I don't have a lesson for contemporary again until Monday, but I'm going to have to space it out and work on it. I'm going to try to see if I have a knee pad from skating around, like lying around it. Just because you want to go all out to learn how to do the steps, but it's obviously taxing on your body. So I think Elena was saying, she's like, oh yeah, I don't even get them anymore.
Yeah, I know, because she was talking about it's like, oh yeah.
I mean, it's not like I haven't fallen in skating. I mean, I skated this morning and I wiped out on a jump and hit my tailbone, and it's like, when you hit it a certain way and then it goes like right up to your head.
Oh geez, yeah.
People that skate that listen, which is probably nobody, but still, that's like a thing that happens. But I think it's not like you're always falling on this, like on your knee in skating, unless you're like a beginner. But whatever. Anyway, so it is a very personal performance that I'm doing. I did want to do the performance with Yuri. I've done showcases with David and I've done some showcases with Elena, but I talked to her about it, and I think in line with all of the goals for the year, it made sense for me to do the performance with him, and also for multiple reasons, just because of the style, and I think it's also contemporary is obviously more like
in your
personal
field.
And it's just, I think it will also help like with Latin and him and I working together on that too. So I think it kind of just made sense to do it that way. And Elena's choreography that she did was amazing. I had to run out of there after we had the first lesson, but I talked to her about why I wanted to do this performance, and she took like every single detail, and it was like in every part of the choreography. So and we only got like halfway through. So I really am appreciative, and I'm just, I have a lot of work cut out for me because I really want it to be the best it can be. So yeah, so that's what I'm doing for March. And I'll probably, it's going to be at the showcase party, so I'm going to stay in the hotel that night. And if I stay, I'm going to see when other people are competing that weekend. I might try to see if I can either come early Saturday or stay on Sunday to watch competition. I'll see how I'll see how the schedule goes. But
Mhm.
what about you?
No, yeah, I'm really excited to see your showcase. I think it's going to be really, really awesome. And I remember how you talked about how like contemporary is obviously really different, but I'm really
Mhm.
excited to see again because obviously we've talked about this in terms of like Elena's choreography. She's such an amazing storyteller. And it was the same with my showcase back in November.
Mhm.
Like you were saying, especially that was the one where the one in November for me was just like yours in March, where that was the one where it was very personal, very vulnerable, and kind of just like me being very open with myself and with others
Mhm.
about things I've gone through. And that's why, but and again, every detail I wanted in the choreography or what I had told her was in the choreography, like you said. So I
Yeah.
know it's gonna be awesome. I'm really excited to see it. I think it's gonna be so awesome.
Yeah.
But for me, it's and I'm glad again, just going back to that they might have had it in February, especially
Mhm.
with the fact now, because I actually changed my showcase routine, or not routine,
Mhm.
changed the idea with the song and the styles since the last time I
Mhm.
mentioned the showcase. So we talked about the showcase a few
Yeah.
weeks ago, and and like I said, I changed the style and the
Mhm.
song at that time. So because of that, I'm actually glad that we have a few more, like a month and a half longer than we would have if we did the one in February. And I think everybody's probably
Yeah.
kind of glad. It's like a blessing in disguise that we didn't have to rush through the
Mhm.
choreography or those routines. But I originally, like I had said before, that I wanted to do, and it still fits that theme, but it's a little bit more intricate than what I
Mhm.
was going to be, or the other one was going to be. But my original plan was to do the cha-cha hip-hop fusion, which I still want to do that cha-cha hip-hop fusion at some point, either in the year or next year. I
Mhm.
still would like to do that showcase, but it's like the importance level of it, I guess, it got kind of pushed down a little bit lower because I had a few other ideas for showcases, and those were a little bit more
Mhm.
important to me, I guess you could say. So again, I don't want to get, just like you were saying with on your story, that you don't want to give away any spoilers. It's the same thing with me, and that's, I was telling Elena after the party, I was like, I'm so glad that our usual private lesson times are like almost after everybody, like it's
Mhm.
at the time where almost everybody's gone from the studio
Yeah.
after group class, so we're usually in the studio ourselves during the private lesson.
Yeah.
It's like we can kind of go through the showcase without anybody seeing it, so that would be really nice.
That's
um
why I went earlier on Monday
yeah.
to go. I mean, there were still
Exactly.
people there because people were off, but I was just like, all right, it's at least like quieter. It's not like random people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because we did that thing before November, like the last 2 or 3 weeks
Mhm.
before the competition, everybody was getting ready, like after, because we were having a formation dance rehearsals, and I would have my lesson after that. There were
Yeah.
some people still in the studio while we were practicing our showcase. But since we're not doing a formation dance this time, I like the studio's been a little bit more quiet, like during the evenings, I guess, leading up to the competition, because everybody's working on their individual competition stuff and their private lessons individually, and
Mhm.
rather than a group of us. But this new showcase idea, I actually had the only hint I'm gonna give away is that it's a really classic song. It's not an old song, but it's an old song in terms of like it's a song I grew up with, so it's from like my era, I guess you could say. Um
Just after
and
my era.
yeah, or from, yeah, it's from both of our eras,
I experienced it at a different stage of my life, whatever song this is. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
obviously don't tell me now. No.
But the song is again, I guess people will call it a kind of like a throwback, I guess you could say, if people grew up in the like 90s, early 2000s, stuff like that. So that's the only hint I'll give away about the song. But the
Mhm.
song and the routine, going back to what I had talked about, and which is the reason why I wanted to do the cha-cha hip hop fusion one, and then going into this one, which these styles, or the styles for this routine, is going to be Argentine tango, rumba, and salsa, which I'm really excited about because all of those three are very different.
Yeah.
But in two of them, and I had mentioned this before to some people, is that Argentine tango and salsa, I don't do much out of the group classes or like at the social parties or at the competitions, like during the galas and stuff like that. I don't really dance those dances in my private lessons or outside of the studio or anything like that. So
Mhm.
I'm excited to actually have like a full-on routine with those two styles included in it, because they're obviously going to be, I think, they're going to be really intricate, which I'm really excited about.
Mhm.
But going back to why I wanted to do, I originally had the idea for the cha-cha hip hop one, and now this one is because I had obviously mentioned that the one in November was very vulnerable and personal, and me just like kind of getting all like putting all of myself onto the floor, and just being very vulnerable, like I had said. And obviously the song was very, very powerful and aggressive, but it was very like I was supposed to be very angry the whole time, or very like it's a very just like aggressive dance, I guess you could say. And so obviously I knew obviously after that I wanted to do a showcase that was just really fun, and that was really upbeat, and that was very just like fiery and feisty and stuff like that, rather than just being, even though that one was aggressive and upbeat too, the one in November, it was very, the mood was completely different. This one is way more kind of uplifting and way more like just fiery and fun and stuff like that. But what we did, and I'm really excited about it because I was talking to Elena this after the party actually, that for the one in November, the song, and obviously with the story, people were probably more like it was obviously a very different kind of dance, because I was really telling a story through it. And then what there was like conventional dance moves, I guess you could say, in it. There were some, because we did some like hip hop, and we did some or some tango and some Venus Waltz and stuff like that in there. But like it was a lot of like us acting like a long choreo. So that's why people were more like actually having to watch it to kind of get, I guess, what was happening or understand what was happening. But with this dance, and with the song, Elena and I have a feeling that it's going to be way more like crowd. I guess the crowd is going to get way more into it, because we're going to do a lot of like things that are, like, I guess, to show off to the crowd, I guess you could say. And I told Elena I think that's going to be really fun, because there's points of the song where like we're going to be, I guess, really getting into the music that I'll anticipate. I am anticipating a crowd reaction, which I think will make it even more fun. And Elena is like, they'll get more, like they'll be able to feel the dance a little bit more. So I think that's going to be really exciting. And we're at my private lesson this past week, we did all of just our Latin routines like we have been doing, and in the last 15 minutes of the lesson, we sat down, and she like got her notepad out, and I just said, hey, this is the song, because I had already told her previously, but we actually mapped out the whole showcase, and I was like, I had the song on my phone and I played it, and I was like, okay, this is the song. Obviously I had told you the song, and then these are the styles, because I had told the styles as well. And I was like, okay, well, here's the part of the song I was thinking we could use for this, and this was the feeling I was thinking we could do, and then here is like during this part it could feel this and stuff like that. So we completely mapped it. And she was like, I'm going to choreograph it this weekend. And then first thing Monday next week at our lesson, we are going to start the actual routine and coming up with the choreography. That's the thing we've talked about, which again, just with Elena being such an amazing choreographer, is that she usually has the entire dance done after a few listens to the song. So I would not doubt the dance is going to be completely finished, or at least she has the whole dance in her head when I see her Monday. So I'm going to be really, really excited to see it, especially since like it's 3 different styles into one dance, and they all change very frequently, or at least like at different parts of the song. So I'm really excited to see what she has come up with for that. And again, I just think it's going to be a really, really fun routine.
Yes, I know. I'm looking forward to it. I was like, I know, I get it, the balance. I was like, I have an idea for a showcase to do after this one, but like I feel like it has to be at a stage showcase, which I don't think they're planning to do one this year. So I'm like, all right, that one I want to wait. That it's got to be a stage showcase performance. That the next one that I had an idea for, and like, you know, things might change, because every time I go and I watch showcases from people, I come up with like 50 million other ideas. So that's where I think a while back, like I came up with this one, and this was, I knew I've been wanting to do this one a while. I just had to make sure I was at the right point in my life that I felt like I could do it.
No, and I totally agree about that. It was funny, just one other note besides for the showcase, before we move on, is that it was funny to me because, like I had said, I was dead set on doing the cha-cha hip-hop one, and I had the song, but I didn't really have like a story around it, because like I said, I just wanted it to be like a fun, just like us doing cool choreography and stuff like that. But then the song that we are doing now for the 3 style dance that I just mentioned, I heard the song over my winter break, like at the beginning of December or middle of December. And obviously, like I had said, I had grown up with the song. So I remember I've heard it all my life. But I remember hearing it, and I was like, wait a minute, like I have an idea now. This is so perfect. And literally, like I typed in, and I showed Elena this. And I literally typed in like the song's name and then dance choreography at the end of it on YouTube, and then like a video came up of two people dancing it.
Mm.
It was the exact vibe and like idea I
Oh
had
yeah.
for the dance. I was like, this is
Yeah.
so perfect. I had no idea that there was going to be a video form of this, but I just knew that it was absolutely perfect. Because I came up with the idea the second I heard the song, and I was like, this is so perfect that I knew I had to do it in March. So I'm really excited. And like you said, that's the thing, is like whether you like hear a song or you see other people's showcases, that's the thing I can think with us and people who dance is like you always come up with ideas in your head and you're like, oh, we can do this. And so it's just our minds are always working.
My loved playlist on my Apple Music is basically like all songs I want to dance or skate to or have in the past or something like that. Or just, I mean, sometimes that I just like singing in the car or in the shower when my mother thinks like someone's dying. Anyway. I also did that with like my song and like dance choreography, and there were a few that came up, but part of me is like, I don't want to watch it. I didn't want to watch it. I don't know. I guess because it's like personal for me, and I was like, no, I want it to be mine. Like I don't even want to taint with looking at what other people have done. Like if I was choreographing something myself on the ice, that's a totally different situation. I was like, but this is Elena's doing it, so I don't want to like whatever. I'm happy with what we've done. But anyway, okay, so. All right, because then we got to get into the Bachelor stuff. But the last thing, so we do have the Dancing with the Stars tour tomorrow. We are doing the VIP experience. And I finally I was so nervous. I was so nervous that I wasn't going to get the VIP email. But they sent it to me, so we're all good. We have to check in tomorrow. We have, we're going to take part in the Q&A session. I think, so what they're doing is like, we can all submit questions. They're going to pre-screen them and then it's only like 30 minutes worth of questions. So they've definitely got it all like regulated. And then we've got the photo opportunity. I'm assuming you might have like a minute or two to like chit chat with them while you're like getting yourself ready for the photo. So we'll do that, and then we can like shop the merchandise ahead of time, have some extra time. The doors open and the show, and we're sitting like closer to the front. So
I still can't believe we're gonna meet Gabby and all of them. It's just so crazy. I can't even believe.
I feel like I'm gonna scream, and then I feel like depending on her energy at the moment, she might be like, ah!
No, I know, she's totally, yeah.
I'm just gonna be like, so I don't know. We're going to have to figure out what we say, and it's just really exciting. And I think, I know that there's not as many of the pros there this season, and it would have been awesome if Val was there also, because we do know Val and like he might recognize us and all this, and it would have been nice to just be like, oh yeah, they come to dance with me, but he won't be there, but that's fine. We're going to still say that, and we'll tell Gabby, be like, you watched when we've tagged you in our story, like for the promo for the episodes, because it's Ballrooms and Bachelor. So like, hopefully she remembers and she wasn't just like clicking through. So we'll see. I don't know how much time we're gonna get, but like we'll put the photo up in the podcast.
Definitely, yeah. And this is your first time doing VIP too. So
this is my first time doing VIP. So I know you've done it before. So
I've done it a few times. It's definitely, they've changed the formatting a little bit since I've done it last, obviously because of the pandemic. But it's such a fun experience. I'm so excited for you to actually experience that.
Yeah, I know. And then Rebecca's coming too, so I know she's super excited, especially because she wants to ask Britt a question. So I really hope that the questions she puts in, they do it. And I drafted 4 questions. I'm not going to get into it now. We'll see what they actually ask.
So that should be exciting.
And I know we want to do a vlog about our tour experience. So okay, so that's everything with dance, and now on to the Bachelor.
Yes, let's do it.
All right, so on to the Bachelor.
Yes.
Do you want to start us off with giving a recap of last season of the Bachelorette, and just so we're acquainted with Zach's journey and how he was selected as Bachelor now moving forward?
Yes, for sure. I only made a few notes, so if we end up like coming up with more ideas, I guess we could do that. But what we were talking about before, I know we have talked about that. I think we talked about this after his journey ended on Bachelorette and after he was announced as the Bachelor, is that especially, I noticed this especially like so obviously if people didn't watch the Bachelorette last season, they had the double Bachelorette season, first time ever, and it was Gabby and Rachel. And when they had that week where they made everybody decide or kind of go to a side of who they wanted to pursue, Zach went to Rachel. And from the bat, right off the bat, I really thought they had an amazing connection. I remember we've talked about this, and I think a lot of people did. I especially the date they had in the Netherlands, I thought that was like when they were in Amsterdam. I thought that was like a huge turning point to where I thought that he was going to be like the front runner or a front runner.
Yeah.
At least in my
Same.
opinion, just because their connection was so good and it just seemed so effortless with them. And they were like in those tulip fields and they were like running around and that whole thing. And they just
The
seemed like
bikes.
the bikes and
Always the bikes.
always the bikes and always the hot tub, because they had the hot tub in the middle of the tulip field too. But with that was the moment where I thought, okay, I think he's really going to go far, possibly win the whole thing, and pick and get picked by Rachel. And especially as the weeks went on, it felt like that just got more and more prevalent to me. Like it seemed like the more they spent time with each other, the more I felt like, oh, this makes sense. And I was like, oh, okay. And then also that movie theater date they had.
I was just thinking about that too.
Yeah.
That was like the first one, and then the tulips like sealed the deal.
Yeah, the tulips sealed the deal, exactly. And then even like I remember they showed, and I thought this was so interesting when they showed the home movie date at his hometown, which I thought was interesting. And like, but the hometown the hometown specifically, again, I thought was really like solidified him. I think even the hometown was like, okay, yeah, she's picking him. That's what I thought. Because they did the whole thing where they went to like the rooftop and went to go watch the planes take off and stuff like that. And it was like, oh, like our dads used to do that. They had the whole connection again. And then the family his family really seemed to like her and vice versa. Again, I just really thought they were going to be again, there were never really any problems with him. Like there were never really any, because I'm really happy they didn't have a villain per se last season, like we had talked about in the past. But like even during any of the drama, Zach was not involved with any of that. Like the only times you really saw him were like cocktail party and then the one-on-one dates with Rachel. That was it. Like they were in the hometown. He was never really involved with any craziness or anything like that. Which made me again thought or think that he was going to be a front runner just because of how like consistently good his, like every time we saw him, his appearances were. So like we had said, all those dates seemed really good. The overnight date seemed really good at first, and this the whole turning point thing happened where apparently like on the second or third to last episode of the season, Zach apparently that night everything seemed to be really good, and he was like, and they were both saying, oh my gosh, we're so happy. I don't even remember if they both said they were falling in love with each other or if Zach just said it. I don't know. I remember she said it to a few people. I think he said it and she didn't say it back, because he was the only one that she didn't say it back to of the three of them. Tino, Avon.
It was Tino, Avon, and him, because Tyler.
Yeah. So that makes sense. So but it seems like everything was going really well, at least from that side of things. And then the next morning you could tell something was off, and it was like really like awkward to watch, because like they were like sitting there, and usually like it's like usually the next morning on the Bachelorette when like after the overnight or fantasy suite, they're like all cutesy and like, oh, let's make breakfast together, and like we're gonna have like eat in bed and stuff like that, and have it, and they're all cutesy and everything. And it was not from like the start like of that morning. I forgot even what happened. I think like I forgot the first thing they talked about. I think it was something about coffee, and they disagreed about that or something like that. I thought I forgot specifically what they said.
I forgot exactly what it was. I just know that the general sentiment that he kind of had, like, and then he talked to her and left because like he wasn't gonna wait around for the rose ceremony at that point. He kind of just knew. It was just, he just felt like once the doors closed that like he couldn't like communicate with her, that she kind of seemed very like shut off and like didn't really want to talk. So I don't know. People have speculated that like they talked about a topic that was controversial and they're clearly not on the same page, and rather than like try to talk through it, she just kind of was like, okay, this is not my person.
It was,
and crazy. Like I mean, she could have also just been like, you know, not for nothing, the cameras are following you all day and then the cameras aren't following you, like maybe she was just whatever. But it clearly wasn't right, you know, no matter
it definitely
what.
was. Like I said, like just when they woke up that morning, it seemed very awkward. And then like he was like, yeah, last night was difficult, but it seemed like we got through a lot of things and talked through a lot of things. And then like I think Rachel said that they like she got clarity on the things she had to get clarity on or something like that. And then like you said,
Yeah.
it seems really off. And then I actually really commend Zach for leaving because
Oh,
and
same.
people I remember seeing like that in the comments of that because they have the breakup video on YouTube. And
Yeah.
I know and people were saying that like I don't know if this is true or not, but people were saying
Mhm.
that they thought that Rachel saw the whole breakup going completely different. They thought she was going to be the one that kind of initiated, and she was really shocked when he did.
Yeah.
But I'm really happy he did because I think he kind of knows what he deserves. And even if Rachel, obviously we love Rachel and we think she's an awesome person, but like I think the way it just went down wasn't the best, just because I think she
Yeah.
ended up just leading him on, and it was just so shocking. Because if we were shocked as viewers, I can't imagine how Zach felt in the moment being there with her of this whole
Yeah.
situation. Um,
I mean, I guess it was just like mixed messages. I always try to be conscious when I say like leading him on versus mixed messages because it's like hard. But I think it's
yeah, or mixed messages. Yeah, it's hard.
but no, I know what you mean. I mean, yeah, it can also be perceived as that too. I mean, it's whatever, it's semantics. But I just yeah, I don't know. I think that was just kind of like their relationship kind of just dissolved for whatever reason. And they were fine like after the final rose, like the mental all, like they were all
Everything was
fine.
fine. Yeah,
They were
they
like
handled it fine. Yeah,
yeah, they handled it fine. So, and I think, and he at least did it in a very respectful way because, like, I just feel like obviously the way she acted could be very triggering and like upsetting to him, but I don't think he really like came at her. He was kind of just honest and
it was just like, hey, like last
yeah,
night, like into this morning,
yeah,
I thought I saw a different Rachel. It's not the Rachel I knew or the Rachel I fell in love with. He wasn't like,
yeah,
oh my gosh, you didn't like how dare you treat like he wasn't like all like screaming, yelling at her or anything like
no,
that. He was
no,
very calm and just say, hey, I was very hurt by the way
yeah,
I felt like you treated me last night. And I think you're an amazing person. I wish you the best, but I
mm.
can't continue doing this. So I
You know
really
what he demonstrated? He demonstrated good emotional intelligence. I just
yes.
thought I'd throw that phrase in.
Yeah.
He doesn't need that book.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he did.
So, oh my
Yeah.
gosh. So
And
anyway,
and
oh yeah,
then
go ahead.
yeah, so do you want to say like him getting picked as the Bachelor or
Yeah, I could finish that part up and then lead into my thoughts. So I think oh goodness, I keep losing the headphone. We're good.
yeah.
Anyway. So yeah, so I think that was I don't know, based on how the rest of the season kind of went with like the rest of Gabby's guys, the rest of Rachel's guys, he made the most sense as a pick.
Me too. Me too.
I know that I mean there was a lot of controversy because things that had come up with Eric and after the final rose, they spent a lot of time like really like acquainting Zach and doing that and not addressing things for Eric. I think, nothing against Zach. I know that generally the public that are fans of the show, I just feel like they weren't
As
enthralled
you
with
know,
Zach as the
yeah.
pick. And then especially after Paradise, seeing what Rodney went through, there was a lot of people really pulling for wanting it to be Rodney or Rodney and Andrew or Rodney and Andrew and Justin or some like combination of them.
Mhm.
Look, I like Zach. I do think he's a different type of a pick, and it seemed a little bit different. Uh, and then I guess that kind of like now as I'm seeing some of the promos and I'm looking at it's only a few days till the show starts again. Just the promos like the bits and stuff that they've done and things. He seems like a great guy. I genuinely
Yeah. Yeah,
think
me too.
so. And he does seem like very much wanting to be there for the reasons that he says he does to find a wife and have a family and get married and all that.
Mhm.
I think at times like personality wise he could seem like a bit awkward in front of the camera, not overall but like compared to the other bachelors.
Mhm.
He's
Mhm.
a little bit more like regimented. I mean he definitely seems like he's like got like a casual like cool side, but I don't know if it's I don't know when they film those promos and all those things of like
Yeah.
they do like the this or that thing and the stuff that they've been like posting all the like TikTok
Mhm.
type things and I'm like he seems a little bit like uncomfortable with it. They could have literally filmed that back when they started shooting the
Yeah.
episode. We don't know that. So that could have been like right at the beginning of the process. It will be interesting to see how it goes because I think
Mhm.
that's just where I think a lot of people liked him for Rachel, but I just don't think that people really saw him like able to lead and carry a whole season. So
Yeah.
um
I just thought the
I have
whole
more
thing,
things, but what were your thoughts? That was
no, I
basically-
know, I agree. And like you were saying, I definitely agree that I think he's an amazing guy and just seems very just kind-hearted and very genuine. I don't think there's any like fakeness about him, at least to me. I don't
No.
have any sense about that. The thing, and like again, I get people's frustration and like the picks that they want and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And that's fine. People could have their opinions and people could have like they can voice their opinion and stuff like that. I just
Mhm.
thought some of the like I guess comments that were on the Bachelor like social media pages and stuff like that were not really necessary just because they were like
People go over the top. Yeah.
over the
Come
top.
on.
And I had mentioned some of them before talking about like bring us someone who we actually asked for and like this is so boring. Like why do we he's that's not interesting or whatever. It's like well at least like you don't have to like the guy.
Yeah.
You don't have to actually want the guy as the lead or whatever, but like at least give him a chance or don't be disrespectful to him because he hasn't done anything that actually deserved that. So I just thought that was
Yeah.
kind of strange. But again, people just Bachelor Nation's very, very vocal. So again, I can understand. But I'm excited to see what he does in terms of leading a whole season. I agree with you about the kind of like I don't know. Again, it's not timidness and it's not awkwardness because he seems fine, but it just seems a little bit like I know, a little bit more reserved. And I think that might just be his personality too. Because I noticed, like again, we talked about it with him, like on the Bachelorette, where he wasn't really in any of like on screen besides like maybe like on the date or on a cocktail party, something like that. He was never just like hanging out with the guys and like going like, yeah, what's up, everything. Like he's never really like, I guess like a real like outward, I guess.
Yeah. Or they didn't show it. I mean,
They didn't show
not
it.
for
Yeah,
nothing.
so
They
we
only
knew-
had so much they could show. But
Yeah.
and I'm not saying like it's not like I wouldn't seem awkward in those types of situations.
No,
I
no,
think
I
it's
know,
just,
I
like
totally would
he's
too.
feeling out the
get it.
whole TV.
Because that process, if you stuck
Yeah.
most of us in front of a camera for that amount of time, I feel like we would all act the same way. I would not know what to do, especially if you're making out with somebody and then trying to
Yeah.
date them too. And it's just like doing all that like stuff that's usually done in private
Yeah.
in front of so many people. Like,
Yeah.
that'd be really strange.
The clips of him with the women seem a little more like
Fine. Yeah.
fine. I think it's just like the promo stuff that they're like propping him up to do this thing. And I think
But again, that's
like,
weird.
okay.
Again,
Yeah,
it's not natural for
normal.
me to do that. So
Yeah. So I don't know.
I
I mean,
know.
that's what I'm
I'm
just
excited though.
yeah, I'm excited for I'm excited for him. I really just hope they find a good match for him and he finds
too.
his person and the drama doesn't diminish the whole experience for him because I just feel like we've just seen that in some seasons where there's just really a lot of drama that specifically on The Bachelor for the women with each other, it just really causes a whole rift. And if it's like I just hope he has enough of the ability to kind of just like pick up on it, weed it out, and not get caught up into that. And I really just hope the production tries to assist him with that because it's like, look, I know you want to produce a good show, but like, don't put this man through hell. Like, I don't, I think there's they have to balance a fine line, and I don't always think they do a good job.
No, I don't think. Yeah,
it's a show, and you want the drama, and you want that, but like there's drama, and then there's the unnecessary drama, and I feel like there's a fine line between the two of them.
Like you said, they go back to saying like the actual core of the show is finding love. And then, like you said, sometimes along with the drama, I feel like the fine line, they go far away from what they say the whole point of the show is. And it's like, okay, why? Like,
So I'm hoping that he can
me
that
too.
it works out for him too.
Me
so
too.
okay, so yeah, and then the weird thing with the promo, so Victoria F shows up on one of the group dates.
Oh yeah. She's not
like as if we haven't spoken about her enough. But anyway, we'll talk about that when it comes. I still have not listened to Nick Viall's podcast that he did with her and Greg yet. I am gonna plan to probably listen to it in the next week just because I don't know. I just haven't really had time to sit and I want to really make sure that I'm listening when I listen to it. So I think I also haven't been able to stomach it yet.
Yeah.
I'm just glad that the boys were back together this week and they were posting content. So the boys.
The boys, yeah.
Not I mean Victoria's in some of them, but I was just like, thank goodness. Anyway. Okay. Do you want to get into the conversation about the women?
Yeah, that I think would be awesome. Do you want to start with the host for the season, and do you want to start for the women?
Well, I think that was all I had about like the host for the season. But if you wanted to say anything else on that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I had a few more things. I wasn't sure if it was separate, but in terms of the host for the season, kind of following up on what you had said, I definitely really hope, like you said, I just put less drama, more love, because again, it's the same thing that's I think the reason we watch the show as Bachelor fans is obviously the healthy drama is fine once in a while, but like you said, I
Yeah.
feel like there's a lot of times where it's like, especially on The Bachelor, like you said, where the women are like, okay, um, they try to pin them against each other, and then it's like,
Yeah.
well, the Bachelor doesn't know, and then one girl brings it to his attention, and then they go to the
Yeah.
whole thing where it's like the girl's like, well, you told him this, and that's not true. And then like the girls sometimes maybe freak out if the guy doesn't handle it the right situation the way they think he might handle it, and it just gets out of control really quickly.
Mm.
I just don't feel like, I feel like that's really, it veers far from what the show I think is actually at its core is about. And then I put in quotes, I said probably unlikely, but just wishful thinking about the less drama part, just because every time that like in the last 3 or 4 seasons, whether it's Bachelor, Bachelorette, people have voiced their opinion about that, like whether it's like podcasters like us or people in the comments or whatever, and it seems like the drama only gets amplified the next season. So I'm really hoping, like I'm proven wrong with that, but that's what I'm really hoping, just because I know what we enjoy to watch. And personally, I enjoy watching when like there's a lot of happiness on the show, and like just that cattiness drama, I feel like is very unnecessary, and I don't like it. And it's obviously way like production influence, and this is very painfully obvious that like at that point. So I just really don't like it. So that's why I'm hoping is that less drama and more love. And I had said whoever Zach picks, like you said, I hope that he is set up for success for this reason. Is that they will last, because the success rate for that, especially recently, has not been that great. Like in the last 5+ years, not many people from the show have stayed together. Like a handful have.
Specifically from The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, because from Bachelor in Paradise, they're doing pretty well.
There's a lot more, but especially,
but it's more natural. I think that's why
it totally is. Yeah, it totally is. But from the main shows, the success rate has not been the greatest. Like I probably could count like on one hand how many people have like stayed together in the last few years. And so I'm hoping that like the person he stays with, they set him up for success to actually pick the right person and not interfere with that, so he can actually have like a long lasting relationship, marriage, all that stuff, future and everything. Because I think he deserves it, and obviously I think everybody deserves that in life. So I'm hoping that the person he is set up with, or he picks, I'm hoping that happens. I'm really excited. It seems like from the promos that they're going to have a lot of fun dates, and they're going to travel a lot again, because that's what I saw in the promos. I thought I saw something online that says they're going to like do a lot of things in Europe, and they're going to, I think, finish in Thailand again, which is where I think Sean Lowe's season ended, I believe. I think I remember that. And
I think so. I think people thought it was Clayton's season, not Clayton, Colton's.
Yeah, cool.
Still make this mistake.
No, I do too.
Everyone makes this mistake.
I totally do.
Because they were like, no, the fence jump was not in Thailand. It was somewhere else.
I think that was in Portugal, I believe. But yeah, I know what you mean. So. And then I think they went to Asia. I think it was like Vietnam or something like that. That's why, again, it could get confusing. But I remember, like, especially in Thailand, because there's so much extravagant stuff there. They make the finale like really, really like over like the top in terms of like the stuff that they do. So I think that's gonna be really fun. I'm excited to see them. That's a aspect I really love of the show. It's just because of like as a like traveling lover myself, I love seeing them do that kind of stuff on the show, to go to different places and see how they interact with each other and the dates they plan and stuff. So that's something I'm excited for. And then the last thing is, again, just like what I talked about, is that I really hope that they don't have a real villain just like they had last season. Like there really wasn't one person we could really pinpoint. Like there was a few people like that I guess were like, you could say weren't the best, like problematic, like Hayden and Michael, and not Michael, I don't know who, Chris, there was some guy, the guy who he was talking about the fantasy suites.
That I think it was, I think his name was,
I thought it was one of those two names, like that's
like the first week. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, in hindsight, like some of those situations, I feel like the conversations were like kind of setups, but whatever.
They were totally.
It caused drama, and it was like villainous drama, activity.
It caused drama that was not necessary, and but again, there was not like, because those situations with that guy and then with Hayden and all that stuff, those situations were kind of resolved after like 1 or 2 weeks. But like with like a villain, like obviously I guess we like her now, but back in the
Mm.
back when she was on The Bachelor with Shanae and stuff like that, where like the drama in Victoria from that season, like it's people, it's like those villains last for like 5-6 weeks, and it's the same thing over and over and over again. And it's just very, very old very quickly. I know. So they didn't have that last season, so I'm really hoping that sticks for this season, just because again, like I said, those like storyline villains that stay for like to 2/3 of the season, and they just keep them around. I just feel like it's so annoying, and again, it just kind of takes away the whole like fun part of the show. And so I'm really hoping that that's something I said in quotes that I really think the franchise should start to get away from that. So I'm really happy they did somewhat last season. So I'm hoping that stays the case, because again, the phones are not really like, I guess, the most fun.
Oh goodness. No, I know. I'm like, we'll just see. We'll see what happens. I don't, we'll really be able to tell when they do the previews on the first night, because I feel like that's when they really start showing you all the juicy stuff, because they kind of give you a glimpse of like stuff from literally week 2 to the end week. So the after Monday night, we're going to have a better idea. But okay.
No,
all right, now you want to go through the list of the women?
I can. Do you want to go first?
So I'll just list out the people that I had. So I just went through it. It was like kind of intuition, kind of like reading what they're saying and trying to piece together. Like, I don't know. I really liked when Jesse did the TikToks that worked, and I was able to participate and watch the last time, because I was just like, I feel like I was like reading into how he reacted. And it would probably be interesting to go and like watch it back and see
Me too.
how it panned out. But I'll just list them out, and we'll keep this list just like we did last season of like who we think might be front runners. So I had Allie, Anastasia. I don't know if she says Anastasia or Anastasia, because I've heard it both ways. Brianna, and Brianna we had actually seen. I don't remember if there were a few other ones, but Brianna I do remember, because she took the selfie the night when they did the live, and we liked her that night. Kara, Katie, although I think I'm a little biased because I read that she was a figure skater growing up. Kylie, I think Kylie was the one that actually reminded me of Gabby. So I was like, and then like Zach picked Rachel. So I don't know, but Kylie, because I think she's an NBA dancer and she's a nurse. So I was like, oh, look at this. Mercedes and Victoria J. And I think I was laughing because like Victoria J had put something about like she doesn't get the hype around Pete Davidson. And part of me is like, I'm not really into him, but like I get the hype. But like I feel like the fact that she said that makes me feel like she's like a good fit for Zach. I don't I just feel like, so it's quite a lot. And part of me was like, I know my list was shorter for the women last year, but I think what we were also deducing last time was like which of these guys might go for Gabby and which one might go for Rachel and which might be for like either one of them. And I was pretty spot on with that. So I'm like, okay, well, this list kind of combines those 3 lists. So you know.
Exactly. Yeah.
Did you? Yeah, and then so that's who I had for like top women, the ones that I think were like interesting characters to watch. Davy, I don't know how to pronounce it. She, like her bio, she was saying about Taylor Swift getting her through breakups. It's like has gotten her through more breakups than anyone. I was like, you and 50 million other people. And that she can outburp anyone. Greer said that she can tell about people based on their sushi order, and I really hope she like expands on that, because I love sushi. I have it probably approximately once a week, and I really want to know what this means about me. And Holland had a very interesting bio. I would suggest go read it. Madison said that she just likes all sauces, which I like. This is sad, because like, what do you have like fries or chicken nuggets or anything like or something that you? I don't know. That was the whole thing. And then Olivia M also had an interesting bio. So those are the people that I think are going to be interesting characters. I do have to say, when I skimmed through it, nobody really seemed big like villain energy. However, going through the range of bios, there are going to be some of these women that completely clash with each other. I am 100% predicting that. And some of them definitely just do not seem right for Zach at all. So I don't know if we're gonna have anybody that's like meets him and's like, peace, I'm out, bye.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, that was kind of my general thing. So I don't know, what did you have?
It's interesting. I actually have a lot of the same people you have, but I started out with a note at the beginning that said I noticed that, and this is going to be interesting to see, just because I know a lot of people complained about it. Obviously, it's like closer to Zach, But I noticed that there's a lot of 23/24-year-olds
Mm,
casted for this season,
but he's
and
26.
he's
Yeah,
26.
I
Like I
made
was
her look
saying,
it up too.
so it's close to his age, so it's not like an age difference like
Mm,
thing. But a lot of the fan base is usually worried about that, or at least has voiced their opinion about that. It's like
yeah.
start casting 30+-year-olds or whatever, stuff like that, like, or at least late 20s. And like I remember people were really happy about that, obviously with Katie's season, because like they did there was like all 30s and 40s and some 40s like at that point, and so
Yeah, I think they were also people that were kind of like people that were supposed to be on Claire's season that didn't
yeah, that
stay,
makes
that
sense.
didn't end up on Claire's season, so they were on Katie's season. So I think that kind of also helped the situation.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the age range is good. Zach being 26 is kind of good because I feel like he's like young enough to date some of the younger women and it not feel like they're totally at different stages in their life, but like old enough that if he dated a woman that was like 30, then
Mhm.
it's not, I mean, I'm 31. So it's like, it's not like you're kind of in that in between that it's like either one's fine. It just depends on the person, their personality, and their your stage
Mhm.
of life.
Yeah.
You know?
Like I personally, like I said, I personally thought like again, since it's close to his age, it's probably going to be fine because again, the age
Yeah.
difference is fine. But I just thought like how are people like in Bachelor Nation going to react, because a lot of times they're like,
Oh yeah.
stop like casting these immature people that are like just whatever.
It's gonna come up. It's
It's
going
gonna
to come up with some of the women. I know there's gonna be some clashes with probably some of them with them attacking the younger one because they were like explaining in the bio like she's young but like she knows herself and blah 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 and all
Yeah,
these
yeah, I
things.
saw that. I thought the way that they had the virals was really funny because some of them are like really like expressive and very like this. It was so funny.
I don't know how much it was the producers like taking it or did these women like verbatim write these things. I think it
Mhm.
was a mix of both. So I don't. Yeah. Anyway, go
Mhm.
ahead.
So I had quite a long list, and again, this is not again, it's like mixing a whole lot of things. It's like because
Mhm.
I know last year we did like I don't know if we did top 4 for the Bachelorette, but I know we did something close to that. It's like who we think might make it to the final people. I
Yeah,
didn't really do that this time. I just did who I like feel like
that's fine. Yeah.
will go far and who's ones to watch and stuff like that. And so the list I had was Anastasia or the way other name or the way you pronounce it.
Anastasia. That's how
Anastasia. Again, I don't know. Like again,
fine.
we'll figure it out when
We'll find out.
we'll
Yeah.
find out on Monday. But and then Ariel, Bailey, Rihanna, Brooklyn, Jess, Katie, Kylie, Kimberly, um, and then Kylie, and then Mercedes.
So there's
Uh,
some overlap.
yeah, some of them are overlapping. And like you said, I think a lot of them have like pretty interesting bios as well. It was hard to really like differentiate like the interesting ones because they were like all had like interesting facts and stuff like that. And then I had 3 that I would be ones to that I like have that would be ones to watch would be Kat, Gabby, and the one that you said again, this Holland having an interesting bio that kind of caught my eye. Was like, okay, I don't know if they're gonna do something with her, but I feel like again, if you have some kind of villainous like that was the one that stood out to me. If they do have a villain or some kind of dramatic thing, I feel like she'll be involved with it. That was my whole thing. Is that
the one that says she likes to go yachting?
uh
Or was that
I
Olivia
have the
M?
list.
Hold
Let
on.
me look.
I was like posting on Snapchat and I'm not sharing all my thoughts on everything. Uh,
I have the list open.
yes.
So.
Yeah, Holland said yachting. And I'm like,
That's
that
what I
is
thought.
not gonna be relatable to people.
Yeah, I
Her,
just thought.
her favorite TV show is The Bachelor. And I was like, listen, we do the podcast. I'm gonna be honest, it's not my favorite show.
No, it's not my
Okay.
favorite. Yeah,
Okay. Nancy Drew and Riverdale
yeah.
have most recently been my favorite shows. And they're both
Mhm.
ending. But I still like I've watched The Bachelor for forever. It's not my favorite show. I'm
No,
gonna
I
be
know.
honest. So I'm like putting that, I'm like, girl, you're just trying to
Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't know. I don't wanna totally pass judgment, whatever, but it's anyway, all right, continue with your list.
No, I know. And I didn't have her, and there's this one girl, I didn't have her on my list, but Genevieve, I just found it really funny how, like,
Mhm.
one of her, like, fun facts is that she can stick shift, kind of. I'm really interested to see if they actually,
Oh
like,
yeah.
bring that up and see,
Yeah.
like, if they're, like, what that actually means. I love when they actually, like, they hint at things. They kind of like, oh, maybe, like, they could do this, or, like, wait,
Mm.
or whatever. And I agree with you about the obvious thing that says that Taylor Swift got through all the breakup stuff. It's like,
Yeah.
man, I know so many people that I can relate that
Yeah.
to. So, and yeah, so those are the people I think that are gonna at least have some significance on the season. I don't know. I probably will be able to after the first night, and maybe we could do a thing because I think we did this last season where like we picked out the guys for the Bachelorette, and then like after night one, we kind of like then dwindled down who we might think will make it far. So I feel
Oh
like
yeah, yeah.
I'll have a better idea once I watch
Yes.
the premiere to do that, and I
Yeah.
definitely want to do that to make the list and dwindle it down to be like, okay, here's maybe like the top 4 to 6. I think that actually I feel like will go far. But now it's just since we don't know much about any of them, it's hard to be like, oh, just based on their pictures and their bio, they're gonna go for because we haven't seen how they've interacted or anything.
Based on this is our preliminary list. We're going to reassess after Monday, and then that will be our like, you know, and obviously it's like ever changing, but I think it's just like we'll see.
And then
some of these people might not even make it through night one.
No, I know totally. Wasn't Kat the one? She was the dancer, and wasn't she the one that like people thought was like really like overly expressive? She met Zach on AFR. I think she was the one that people were like, oh my gosh, she's like so like expressive and like it's completely the opposite of Zach or whatever. I think she was saying a lot
I
of
have
things.
to go through my notes because like I think when I looked and I think I just wrote about Brianna with the selfie and that was it. And I know, and then Bailey, he said her name wrong. I think that was he said Bailey's name wrong. That was the other thing. I think he said Haley or something, and he mixed it up. And I was like, oh my gosh, because you did this to him like last second, whatever. So I don't know. We'll see how that gets remedied.
I know, but
oh
I think it's an
goodness.
interesting and a really cool cast of women. I'm really excited to see what happens.
Yeah.
I'm hoping again, just like we talked about, that some of the women, and I do have a good feeling that some of the women will mesh well with Zach, just because I think he deserves it and deserves something happy. But yeah, I think it's really, really cool cast of women. I'm really excited for that season, for the season to start.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too that I did find myself like thinking through was like part of me is just like I don't even really like I feel like as much as we know Zach, I don't really know Zach. So part of me is like I'm reading this list going on this preconceived notion I have of Zach from the little amount of time. So I think it's also going to be as we get to know him more, then we can determine
exactly, totally right.
Yeah. Options. But all right, so we'll finish up.
Yes, we definitely can. We have a lot to look forward to.
Yes.
So thank you very much for listening to today's episode. Please remember to like this video, subscribe to us on YouTube, and hit the post notification bell. And if you've enjoyed it, please share it with a friend. And also follow us on Instagram at the Ballrooms and Bachelors Instagram page. And our personal Instagram accounts are linked in the bio of the Instagram bio of that Instagram account and at the end screen of this episode. And if you don't know, but you're wanting to watch The Bachelor and you're not sure when it premieres, like we said, this coming Monday, January 23rd on ABC at 8 p.m. Eastern time, and is available like most ABC shows the next day or a few days later on Hulu. So we'll be back after recapping the premiere for The Bachelor, and we'll see you guys then.
See you next week. Bye.
See you next week. Bye.